Andy wants to do a Dremel demonstration, but that would require everybody have safety glasses, and I don't think we brought enough, so that's a no. Sorry, man.
That's good. It'll be 5.
Yeah, but then you wouldn't get to see all the sparks flying, and that's kind of the point, right? This isn't like looking at the sun. It's not okay. Sorry. Yeah. So I maybe had a crazy week, and I didn't put slides together because I kind of wanted, because I'm a lazy ass. No, I had a really crazy week. I just really wanted to chat a little bit about the ideas I'm working on and kind of invite you guys to give me some feedback and show you some stuff I'm working on. So I pitched this idea to Rick and Ben, kind of not really knowing what the hell I was doing, because I was like, we need to do cool stuff and we need to see different aesthetics and different design ideas in tech. So what I've been thinking about a lot and responding a little bit to is the fact that everybody's sort of devices just look like variations of this, right? Like we just have all of these rectangle interfaces that are various sizes, and there's not a lot of creativity happening in terms of especially like these high-end expensive machines that we're buying. And I was thinking hey, there used to be all of this cool modding stuff going on, and maybe I'm just not hanging out with those crowds, but it feels like that's kind of been dying down a bit. There was a lot of people doing gaming boxes that would put these amazing cases around the hardware that they had spec'd out themselves. I saw some people doing stuff taking old coffee machines and then throwing a motherboard in there and just seeing what, how cool it could look. So this is where having a slide prepared would be great, right? Yeah, I'll definitely do it for next time, I promise. But yeah, I'm a little bit worried to see this trend to devices being more and more closed case and less sort of inviting to people to get in there and have a play. My very first experience with computers was when I joined a computer lab when I was at uni, and my boss was like, all right, go and reinstall the RAM, and I think I had to flash the BIOS and do a bunch of weird shit that I didn't know what any of it was. Yeah, right? Totally cool. But the point was she just gave me permission. She said, here's some tools, take the cases off, you work out what the RAM slots are because you can see where the little RAM chips fit. And these were reasonably cheap boxes, and no one cared that much if I screwed it up. So it gave me permission to just go and have a play and work out what these pieces of silicon were and how they fit together and what they were doing. I think that I don't think this box has screws on it anymore, or maybe this is one of the last ones. This is a couple years. Yeah, right? But it's been a while, right, since we were taking the screws out of the bottom of our MacBook Pros and reinstalling batteries or putting new RAM in or anything, right? We haven't really been encouraged to do that for quite a long time. And there was a Google phone project called Project Ada, which was this idea of all of these different components, and you could mix and match them. You could spec up, so you could start at less memory and then add more memory. And they recently announced that that's been canceled. Basically, they didn't really unpack why, but I'm guessing lack of consumer appetite. Is that sad? I shouldn't look at you. You're really bad.
Ability to exploit people.
Well, no, but this is the point, right? Just because something isn't necessarily the highest profit or the most monetizable doesn't mean it's not worth having out there in the world. And the thing I'm a little bit worried about in general with tech is we should, and I know hardware is expensive to manufacture, so there's a lot of detail in that, but we should have places where we can sort of explore, explode, destruct hardware and see what's inside it. And I'm a little bit hoping that I can come up with some ways for us to explore that in a fun and lo-fi way. So yeah, I was thinking about closed boxes, and then I was also thinking about design aesthetics. So Gil's example, he showed lots of cool slides of stuff that's very Tony Stark, but I think there isn't a lot of hackering and maker spaces I'm seeing that are doing stuff that looks more like Frozen and less like Tony Stark, I think is maybe a way of putting it. So oh, burn. I But like seriously, I think makerspaces need to try and design for and accommodate lots of different personalities and lots of different design aesthetics. And like as someone who came into tech as a designer, I know that I haven't always felt like terribly comfortable or welcome in certain spaces. And it's partially because it's kind of designed for people who aren't really me and haven't really like considered like how people outside of their culture might feel or might want to kind of think about creating. So basically this workshop is going to be a little bit of craft and a little bit of software and a little bit of hardware all smooshed together. And my idea is let's try and make some shit as fast as possible and as dodgy as possible and see if we can like try and blur the lines between those kinds of activities. So like crafting isn't that far away from software and software isn't that far away from hardware. And I think that we can think about how these things aren't really their own silos. So I'm just going to show you some shit and then I'm going to hopefully invite you guys to chat to me now or later. My big agenda for tonight is I really want people to like look around their op shops, look around their homes, and come into BuzzConf with some weird shit to turn into lights. And yeah, like seriously, I really hope that I can encourage you guys to like get imaginative and think about what stuff you might have hanging around at home that could turn into a really rad light. So for an example, if I can get some shit out. Now, is it too dark up here? Can you guys see anything? Can you see this? You can't see that at all. Oh, there's a spotlight. Can you see that? Can you guys see this guy here? No, Aaron can, and that's okay. Okay, hang on. It would probably help if I put some lights inside them. Oh, ooh, can I use your phone? Cool. Awesome. You can see I totally demoed this properly.
There's a mic.
Can you guys see that?
What is that?
That's a great question. It's the body of a doll that I turned upside down and ripped the legs and arms off of.
Can you repeat that into the mic?
Oh, yeah. Oh, thanks, Andy. So this is the body of a doll. This bit here, that's the neck, and I painted it. So these bits here are its arms and its leg holes. And we've thrown some googly eyes on there, and then we've taken the arms and put them on the back. Although one fell off because my super glue isn't strong enough. So I've been learning a ton just like playing around with case ideas. So I discovered, for instance, that some plastics don't like certain kinds of spray paints, and I had to try different acrylic paints to see what would actually like create like a finished surface and not. So these guys were kind of developing. You can see there that kind of mange look. It's because the spray paint kept kind of scraping off. That bit there. It's kind of hard to see. I'm gonna show you like throwing some Arduinos in these guys as well. So the idea I have is we have a lot of objects around that are probably like garbage or close to garbage, but they can turn into really, really freaking cool lights. And I think it's really fun to imagine how things can be reinvented. And I love these spaces where people are taking found objects and turning them into art. So I'm trying to encourage people to reimagine what the objects around them could turn into. Nightmare Light. So this guy is like got a little bit of fur on him, and as you can see, the one of the arms came off. But I'll show you the next thing. Say. So this guy, I haven't put a Moto server in there yet, but it is the toy from Sid's room. It was totally inspired by the baby on the. But the best thing about this toy is that this spider was a toilet, and I turned it into a spider with Andy's Dremel and a ton of like digging around at it, and then I spray painted it black. This here, I can take it off so you can see. So if you can see this guy, it was actually like a baby doll's toilet, and I cut around it, and then we spray painted it, and then I like threw some duct tape in the middle to try and give it a little bit of a headrest. And if I get everything done, I'm hoping to get done, it's gonna have eyes that flicker and a head that rotates, and like lights inside its head. So yeah, that's kind of the point. Thank you. I don't know if that was intended as a compliment.
Like on your Windows console, like when it would just go the whole tool on, just like so when people just walk past, it just sees.
Well, see, there's an amazing idea, right? We could throw some motion sensors on this thing so that it could turn on when someone walked past it. That would make it even creepier. So this guy is, again, a doll's head, and I was kind of riffing off the idea of a lamp, right? So we've got, and this spray paint, as I realized as I was putting some LEDs in this before, we've got some very cool advertising words on the side that I might want to spray paint again. But again, I just was trying to come up with ways to play around with these dolls' heads, and like this guy here is like literally a 30-cent sort of spray pen that I took the nozzle out of, and this doll is one of the dolls I dismembered, and this guy is just like literally a little bit of fringe that I got at Lincraft. So the whole thing is like it comes together to make something quite fun and weird, but it doesn't have to cost a lot. It doesn't have to be like a really expensive kit. And I think one of the things I've been thinking about a lot is how do you let people play without making it super expensive and making it like kind of about whether you've got a ton of money to come up with a really cool robot kit. So just talk amongst yourself for 2 seconds. I'm just going to show you some Arduino stuff now, but I have to turn on my computer. Or rather, just open it up. Well, unless you guys want to see the code, I just need to actually flash the... Do you guys want to see the code while I like push it to the thing? Yeah. So I haven't actually, so my plan is to get a bunch of little individual LED lights. We're going to make some simple circuits, and we're going to have a switch that you can turn off and on. But this is the example I have right now because Andy had it at home because he used it to make this Tony Stark reactor, like Halloween costume. And I hadn't ordered my LEDs yet to have them ready for tonight, so my bad. Cool. All right, So just to show you some examples of what we can do with LED lights. So the code is really simple, by the way. It's actually, I had literally not played with any Arduino stuff before, and I think, sometimes we look at these finished things and think, oh shit, they're so sexy, but like this is very simple instructions. So this is a library that does some fading stuff for you. Oh wait, this isn't not the one I wanted to show you. I know, right? Test plus plus. So you can see here, I'm setting pixel colors based on the pin. So I've got 16 lights here, and they all have a pin number, and I'm just literally telling it what color to be. So it's just saying the number there too is the pin 2, and then it's saying be this color, and then it like loops forever with some delays and stuff. This is always painstaking, sorry, live demos. So we're uploading, so we're basically pushing this code to my little Arduino. And let's see if something is happening. Ooh, look. Hey, we've got a happy face flashing at you. So I was thinking with these nightmare lights, we could do things like fading across colors. I was also thinking it'd be quite fun to have something that didn't turn on straight away and it kind of like was a little bit random. So maybe it like waited for a few seconds and then it turned on just to like add a little bit of spookiness. I'm just going to show you one other example real fast. So let's see if this guy is going to go. So this is, again, it's just flashing lights in different colors. But you can do tons with these guys. Like they have lots of brightness. You can go across the whole color spectrum. You can set anything you can do with programming, you can do with these lights. And I think that lighting is actually a really interesting aspect of design. Like light is very much about what colors are next to it as much as what you're seeing sort of on its own. So if you look at yeah, if you can see that. So if you want to get inspiration for what you can do with light, look at like the cool TV shows or films that have amazing light effects. Light design is actually a really interesting thing to think about when we're talking about hardware. And I think that there's a lot of creative work that we can take inspiration from to think about how we can make objects in the real world. And I'm sure that Andy G would be into this because of his whole into the LifeX world. So that's all I was going to show you. I want to make some weird shit, and I hope you guys want to come and make it with me. I want to see how we can reimagine everyday objects. And, you want to do this one?
Yeah. That's the one.
I think it's a little bit low. The other one works.
Yeah, the other one works.
My assistant. Thanks, Andy.
Family friendly.
This is for kids, but kids of all ages. So if you feel inspired, it's totally welcome to come.
There's restrictions on objects.
Can you see that?
Hey, Laura, what
Yeah.
was me freaked out by this? And Laura was like, nah, kids love the carb shit.
Kids love the carb shit. Kids also how screwed up is the world right now? Kids need an outlet for their emotions. I need an outlet for my emotions. I'm sure they do.
Wrong.
There we go. The two kids in the crowd have just agreed with me. So. But yeah, no, so the plan I have is we're going to go from some simpler ones. So the simplest version of this is going to be design a case, throw your LEDs in, make a little circuit, and have a switch that turns off and on. So no programming at all. And then if you want to go up a level, you'll get to do some programming and do stuff like this, give it some lights, give it some changes over time. And if you want to be super cool, you can also throw in things like light sensors, so you can see based on the ambient light, we're going to turn on at this time because we want to have it actually be a night light that turns on once it's dark enough. So we'll have a couple of levels. I think maybe if kids are kind of below the age of 8, we'll invite parents to come and give them a little bit of a hand. We won't be doing soldering. We won't be doing anything too crazy. If you do want to do things like spray or paint your objects beforehand, I can help you out with that. We can do it on the Friday night actually, I don't even know when the workshop is going to be. Do you know which day I'm going to be on? Someday we'll find out. But we can, if you want to do things like this, I'll have objects prepped ahead of time, but if you want to bring something in and spray paint it or paint it ahead of time, I'll have all the materials to do that. But I don't know if we can let kids go wild with spray paint because that might be an OH&S issue, maybe, yeah. Depends on, maybe high school age kids can do that. Cool. So that's it for me. I would love to hear your thoughts if anyone has any crazy ideas for weird objects we can turn into lights. And hopefully this is a good thought starter for you.